Spelunky is hard, and within Spelunky, there is one achievement that is so brutally unforgiving that only the most deranged Spelunky fans would even attempt it. What could it be? Could it be beating hell? It is not, but I assure you, we are in hell regardless. The achievement is Low Scorer. Beat the game without collecting any money. At first, it sounds like a novel little challenge to take on in a few runs. I mean, how hard could it really be to avoid money? It's all brightly colored and extremely visible after all. It'll take an afternoon, just a fun twist on the Spelunky formula. These are all things I thought, and they are all extremely wrong. Low score is one of the hardest tests of technical skill and knowledge in Spelunky. The game's already extremely difficult, and attempting to get this achievement basically adds in an instant death that can be found anywhere in a run and makes you scared of little dings. That's why I needed to learn the 4 lessons of low score to succeed, and I'm going to bless the knowledge of these lessons upon you as well, because I needed to learn all of them if I ever wanted to have a shot at winning this monumental challenge. The first lesson of low score is simple, and it ended up being the motto for the entire run. Don't get greedy. That's it. These 3 simple words need to be in the back of your head at all times. For example, robbing shops is now completely out of the question because shopkeepers are now too dangerous to kill because they drop a bunch of money when you kill them. They also pose the regular threat of shooting you. Not getting greedy also applies to utility usage as well. If I wasn't confident I could make a jump or navigate a part of a level, it usually ended up being the better idea to have used that one rope or bomb to get around it instead of throwing the whole run away to hubris. Lesson 2 is that money is everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. It's in the walls, it's behind wooden planks, in the grass and in the trees, tucked under snow, lurking in wait behind pillars, dropped from large enemies, dwelling in pots, and generally haphazardly scattered across every level. And not only is it everywhere, but it will also go everywhere as well. Using bombs had a very high chance of flinging money to me, and I had to learn to whip trees to see if there was a gold bar completely hidden within its leafy camouflage. Pots were now a risky option to use as a projectile because they can contain money or enemies. Just taking fall damage could end up with me getting flung into a pile of money with no way around it other than having just played more carefully. Lesson 3 is one that can be understood early, but it will take a while to realize the full truth of. The whip is your friend. I quickly realized that without any way to buy bombs, ropes, or any other kind of equipment, I'd have to be reliant mostly on the 4 bombs and ropes that I got at the start of every run. This meant that the whip would be needed to move money out of difficult positions instead of using ropes or bombs to avoid the money entirely. Not that this would always work, because there can be gold nuggets or hidden gems in the walls of the level, and using a bomb every time there's a hard jump would have quickly left me with no bombs. The 4th lesson is to stay positive and learn from your mistakes. This is Spelunky. You will fail. Personally, it took me 845 runs just to get a successful one. A good way to stay positive is to keep in mind the little victories, like personal bests or good decisions or plays. I found that it was also useful to recognize that I was improving at Spelunky overall. Comparing runs earlier in the challenge to ones closer to the end, it was pretty clear that I was improving at getting through levels quickly and efficiently. I also noticed that I was able to make it to the next area more often, with getting to the jungle no longer being considered a promising run, but a regular one. Looking back at all the recordings, I was able to notice that I was also following all the other advice I've given in this video more consistently and better. Not perfectly, but that doesn't mean it wasn't noticeable improvement. Just because a run doesn't end with a victory doesn't mean it wasn't important. That's it, honestly. Don't get greedy, gold is everywhere, the whip is your friend, and stay positive. In hindsight, this is all obvious, but I really couldn't have prepared myself for how demanding low score really is. You have to be good at Spelunky to have a shot at getting this achievement. But it's certainly not impossible, and keeping that in mind was something that kept me going through all of my attempts. And there were a lot of attempts. 845 if you remember that from a little bit ago, and with that many failures, a good few of them are bound to be interesting. Dolores, play the death reel. Thanks, Dolores. She's the best, isn't she? Obviously, I was dying a lot. But when you're doing a challenge like this, all I could really do was laugh at myself for following this ridiculous self-imposed nightmare challenge. As I was getting better and further into the challenge, I eventually reached the final boss, Olnek. And I'll be honest, dealing with this giant golden idiot was extremely stressful with how hard Low Scorer had been up to this point. I actually got to him once and lost the fight because of one tile. One tile that was all that was standing between me and victory. And I probably could have gotten it too if I'd been a little more careful with my bombs. It was encouraging as it was upsetting. That's a lie. It was extremely upsetting and only mildly encouraging. It's worth noting that there are several reliable ways to kill Olnek. I utilized none of these because I was so nervous every single run that I would play it far safer than I probably should have. But I eventually got an extremely lucky run, and that started with me getting a jetpack out of a crate in the jungle. Now, that basically guaranteed I could get to the temple, but getting through the temple was not going to be easy, jetpack or not. Well, the jetpack does make everything significantly less hard, but not easy. So then I spent an arduous amount of time slowly and meticulously making a pit for the face brick to fall into. After giving him a bath in the far too hot tub, I went to the exit and entered this challenge 33 hours after starting it. I celebrated accordingly.
Yeah, there it is, baby! There it is! Yes! Yes! It's so good. Oh my god. Let's do it. Show me that flat $50,000 score. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Your girl did it. I did it. I did it. $50,000.